Hello and welcome. Today I would like to talk about the Puerto Rico. She is the new Tier 10 US cruiser that is basically a Tier 10 Alaska. She does have essentially what Alaska has, except one extra gun turret, but some disadvantages to boot, which in my opinion make her a not very good ship. I like the Alaska more, kind of like a combination between a Montana and an Alaska, I guess. But that's a story for another time. Today I would like to talk about how to get to Puerto Rico. So with this new patch we have a new thing called the Dockyard, which is a really cool thing in my opinion. Like, this is an incredibly cool idea, because the idea here is that you basically build the ship. You see the animations, right, go through, and essentially what you have to do is you need to there's a bar down here and you need to get 51.3 million points to essentially build the Puerto Rico. Now, the way it's built is that, as far as I understand, you get 125 points per minute base. But you can build shipbuilding boosts right here. These are, well, 2 trees. You get one for free, which gives you 500,000 boosts immediately, and then 6 points per minute. So 125 per minute plus the 6 would be 131 per minute. Now, I'm actually not 100% certain that it's 125 per minute, but that's what I've read. And essentially, with this, it would take you something like 270 or 280 days to build to Puerto Rico. Now, the problem is that this is a limited time event. There's only 31 days and 9 hours to go on building the Puerto Rico. And it only starts in 3 days, by the way, so you're actually only dealing with 28 days to build the ship. Which means you need to do it quickly. Now, you have these boosts that, for example, that these are for doubloons. So this is 6,000, gives you 4.5 million points immediately and 104 points per minute. So you want to build all of these boosts as early as possible, because you want to maximize the amount of continuous boost, the points per minute, basically. This gives you 138 points per minute and 6 million boost, and this gives you 7.5 million immediate boost and 173 points per minute. I have these 3, these are 24,000 doubloons, which, by the way, is 80 euros. That's a very steep price in my opinion. I have these 3 because Wargaming gave all the community contributors 24,000 doubloons to be able to do this, basically. Now, the other side, though, are free, so 750,000 points and 104 points per minute, 1.2 million points, 104 points per minute, etc. But these cost something called shipbuilding tokens. You can see them up here, right? I have 34 of them right now, and this requires 200 shipbuilding tokens to build. Now, the thing is that getting shipbuilding tokens is quite difficult. Now, these prices are fairly expensive, 300, 350, etc. And you probably need, as far as I understand, all of them eventually, or at least a fair bit of them, to be able to build to Puerto Rico. And remember, there's only 31 days. And the question obviously is, how do you earn these shipbuilding tokens? Also, I'll note one other thing. You can always finish the ship immediately, and in this case it's 35,000 doubloons. So if you wanted to just buy the Puerto Rico with just doubloons, that would be 59,000 doubloons. You know how much that costs? That's 200 euros, which is something like 220, 230, maybe even more US dollars, which is a crazy amount for one ship, which is even mediocre. Actually, the fact that the ship is mediocre, in my opinion, is a good thing, because otherwise this would be incredibly pay to win. Anyway, you can complete it immediately if you want, and as far as I understand, the further along you get in this price gets lower. But we're still talking about a lot of money. Like, these are some huge numbers. Anyway, how do you get these shipbuilding tokens? Well, you get some per day when you log in, and then you also get daily missions that give you these. I'm not sure if I have any. Let me check. Combat missions, I guess, would be it, right? Yeah, see? No, that's Furious. Nope. Oh, see, this gives you 2 shipbuilding tokens. And I guess maybe the missions in between give you shipbuilding tokens. But anyway, you can get some shipbuilding tokens from the combat missions. But most of them actually come from directives. These things, you get you get 200 for finishing this directive, so you need to finish 6 missions here, right, out of these. Number 2 gives you 250, number 3 gives you 300. Oh, number 3 also gives you a Gorizia, which I think is quite cool. Number 4 gives you 300, you know, that's the point. Essentially, you need to finish these directives to get lots of shipbuilding tokens. The problem is that the requirements to finish these are insane. And I'm talking completely and utterly ludicrous. Like, we've already passed ridiculous. This is ludicrous levels of grind required to do these. And remember, these are all time-gated. You can't do them all at once because you can do the first set of directives right now, but the next one is available only in 3 days, and the next one after that is another 4 days, and that's another 4 days, and another 4 days, and another 4 days, and another 4 days. Remember also that you want to complete these directives as quickly as possible so that you can get your shipbuilding boosts as early as possible so that those points per minute can start ticking as quickly as possible. Which means that you want to finish these as quickly as possible. Now, right now, it doesn't matter because, you know, the Puerto Rico starts in 3 days. However, this isn't, you know, once the thing kicks off, that's not going to be the case. Now, let's take a look at some of the directives. So in the first day, cause 165k damage to ships by setting fire. Fine, this is not a problem. Get 100 set on fire or hits to the citadel ribbons. Fine, that's 2. 40 defender assisted capture. 3. Destroy 65 ships. Yeah, this is gonna take a long time. I mean, I get 1.5 kills per average. Average players probably get, like, let's say 1. So that would be 65 games. That would be something like 20 hours of gameplay. Okay, this is a bit crazy, but fine. You probably don't need to do that one. Earn 12 million credits. Okay, this is gonna take a while, but with tier 10 ships, it's doable. And you know, these are the other things that this is earn 4 million credits with battleships. I mean, this is entirely doable. And for example, I have actually already done the aircraft carrier one by just playing CVs for the snowflakes, which, you know, is quite nice. And I can easily do the first directive, it's no problem. Second directive, destroy 90 ships. Okay, this is even more difficult. Get 150 hits to the citadel set on fire, cause flooding. Okay, fine. Cause 5.6 million HP of damage to ships. Remember, you need to do 6 of these, right? 5.6 million. If you deal 100k damage per game, this would be 56 games. That's insane. Receive 3.36 million potential damage. Yeah, it says 36 million, see? 3 and 6. 6 zeros means 36 million. So let's say you get 1.5 million per game, we're talking... Yeah, we're talking a lot of games. This is like 45 games, 50 games. Earn 85,000 base XP. I get something like 1400, 1500 base XP per game average, like averaged across my time playing this game. It's probably not going to change too much. Average players maybe get 1,000. So we're talking literally 85 games to do this one. Now, thing is, you can do all of these at once, right? Like, you get the destroyer ships, the base XP thing, etc. But we're still talking 80 games. Essentially, because we're already looked through 4 of them, and we, you know, figured out that they all require so many, it'll take a long time. Now, you can get these first 3 done quicker if you have the Gorizia. This is the premium ship that you earn once you finish the 3rd directive. If you already have her, you can finish these directives more easily because you have missions or directive missions like 2.4 million creds in the Gorizia. Like, this is no problem. And you know, the 3rd one is a similar way. However, after the 3rd one, you get to the 4th one, and here you don't have any Gorizia missions anymore because, look, the 3rd one gives you a free Gorizia if you finish it. With the 4th one, you kinda need to do stuff on your own, and we're talking cause 9.3 million damage to ships. Yeah, it says 9.3 million. 100k per game, 93 games. We're talking 26 hours of gameplay. And remember, you want to do these as early as possible, and the next directive starts in 4 days, so let's say you want to do it in 4 days. 26 hours of gameplay in 4 days? Are you guys crazy? Earn 950,000 XP. This is more XP than it takes to go from tier 1 to tier 10 on most ship lines. In fact, there might only be a few ship lines where you can't quite get it because, you know, I think maybe some ships require additional modules at tier 10 or something like that. But most ship lines can be done with this much XP from tier 1 to tier 10. And this is just one directive. And it gives you one camo. One camo. In fact, actually, I want to show this thing. I think it's this one. Never mind. One of these basically only gave you very little in return. Earned 27,000 base XP with Japanese ships. Now, remember, these are Japanese exclusive, so you can do these three at the same time, but you can't do Japanese, US, USSR, Germany, UK ones. These are exclusive, you need to do them separately. And basically, it's only the base XP over there. And then there's the European. So most likely you'll do these three, which requires you essentially to play like 95 to 100 games just to do this directive. And then you'll do some of these, which is insane. Also, I'd like to point out that the kills directive is an utterly idiotic thing. I thought you guys already realized this, Wargaming, that having missions for kills is utterly stupid because it makes players play in stupid ways and then it degrades the game experience for everyone involved because everybody's gonna try to kill steal. I suppose it doesn't really matter that much with these Puerto Rico directives because it's so difficult that most people will just give up, I suppose, but still. Okay, so directive number 5, earn 20 million credits. Earn 150,000 base XP. 1,000 base XP per game is 150 games. We are talking here about 45 hours of gameplay. And remember, it's the 4 days, right? And you want to do them as early as possible? 4 days for 45 hours of gameplay. We're talking over 11 hours per day. 11 hours per day to do this thing. I don't understand who came up with these numbers. No, I'm serious right here. I actually think that's the idea given, and basically it's the same. It continues like this. You probably have to do some of these, or like earn 350,000 XP in carriers. I mean, okay, this is doable, right? If you have all the flags, etc., it's not that big of a deal. But this is 47 million potential damage. These numbers are so insane that it boggles the mind. And I would say that, remember, we're talking about a time-gated event. So you want to get this done very quickly. I mean, this is 1.1 million XP. You could literally get a tier 10 line and maybe like on some of them, I don't know, a third of the way done for another tier 10 line. It's this insane. Earn 350,000 free XP in carriers. What? Earn 350,000 XP in Japanese and French cruisers, in French and German battleships, in Soviet destroyers. You add up these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're talking about 1.75 million free XP. You could basically have bought Missouri, Musashi, and almost a Nelson for this. Right? This is how ridiculously much free XP you require for this thing. Sure, you're probably not gonna complete all 5 of these, right? You're probably gonna take like 3 of these and some of the other ones. But we're talking about such an insane amount of grind that it just boggles the mind. I actually like the idea that somebody had in chat that maybe somebody at Wargaming should try doing this. One person, you know, make it their job responsibility for the next month to do this, to show players that this is possible. Sure, I get that Wargaming said that, you know, Wargaming had a post on Reddit by Sub-Octavian that said that, yeah, they screwed up by telling us how, you know, how miscommunicating, how this is made for the hardcore players. But we're talking about a grind level that's beyond hardcore. I would get it. if this wasn't the timer. In fact, I joked about this yesterday to many people, that there's actually a bug here. You see, it actually, you see, it says, look, it says 2020 here, and the Christmas tree, that actually this is supposed to be finished by 2020 Christmas. Because honestly, the grind level seems so insane that that's what's intended. That this should essentially be a permanent thing. If this was a permanent thing, the grind would be crazy, but I could understand, because people could go at it at their own pace. And actually, I really like that idea, if I'm honest. If this was a permanent thing, where you could just earn this stuff at your own rate, this would be amazing. Like, seriously, completely and utterly amazing, because I really love this Dockyard thing. Like, building the ship, and this is really cool. But the time gate just breaks the entire thing. And honestly, it kind of feels like somewhat of an insult for the player base. Because they're shown this amazing thing, but they can't get it. Because the price is so ridiculous, and the grind is so ridiculous, that it's just not going to happen. And the thing that makes it worse than anything else is the fact that this is a tier 10 ship. This is top tier. Remember when Wargaming said that they were not going to sell ships, premium ships, above tier 8? Well, this is essentially a tier 10 ship for sale. Because you can't realistically grind this ship. For the vast majority of players, Wargaming might say 1%, but I don't believe it's 1%. If you told me that 0.1% of the players got it, I would still not really believe you. For free, I mean. Of course, you know, if you include the 24,000 doubloons, sure. Fine, I'll believe that. But the grind is so insane and the price is so steep that I think this is an incredibly bad precedent. Because, sure, Puerto Rico, the ship isn't that amazing. Fine, you get it, it's not that big of a deal. What if instead of Puerto Rico, it would be something like the Smolensk? Or something meta-defining, a Stalingrad maybe, or, I don't know, an Ohio. Okay, Ohio maybe isn't the greatest example. A Kremlin, a Kleber, ships like that. That would completely break things like ranked clan battles, etc. And is Wargaming sure that they're never going to do something like that? Because I love this Dockyard thing. I want to see more of this. But I don't want to see the insane prices. Or actually, you know what? Keep the prices. I don't care. Make this thing permanent. Okay? Maybe lower the amount of points you get per minute for the things you get from directives. And, you know, keep the doubloons ones, or maybe boost the doubloons ones, or something like that. Make this earnable for the vast majority of players. And then, you know what you could else do? Then take ships like the Missouri, the Enterprise, ship Belfast, you know, ships that have a lot of historical value, that have been already made into the game. That sure, there were balance issues in the past, but honestly, would people care if we re-added the Missouri? Maybe make it lower credit scale, if that's the problem. I think people would want things like the Missouri. And if you made it a permanent thing where they could just, you know, wait to build it, do directives and eventually build it, or use the balloon boosts to get it, I think people would like that. Because, you know, if you don't get any of the boosts and just wait normally, 280 days is so long that most players would probably either try some of the grind or would get the balloon boosters. And I think that would make players quite happy. Because the concept is great. The grind is just insane. And I really dislike the fact right now that basically this is essentially only available for players who pay money. And we're talking about the tier 10 ship here. And this, in my opinion, is the biggest issue. So please, Wargaming, just extend the build of the Puerto Rico indefinitely. Remove the 31-day limit. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my really long rant. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, One Eyed Potato. And I hope I'll see you guys next time.